bonjour, bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous allez bien. Coucou Papy, du coup, qui est en camping sur le stream. Coucou New, qui me voit sûrement en petit carré, du coup, bon courage. J'ai Genshin qui prêtait charge, du coup, ma queue est en PLS. Oui, non mais t'inquiète, hein, je m'en doute, j'ai vu ton message sur Discord. J'espère quand même que tu vas bien. Et Papy aussi d'ailleurs, j'espère que tu vas bien, parce que du coup, on s'est pas encore parlé ce matin. Moi ça va bien. Je suis content, parce qu'aujourd'hui on débute un nouveau jeu. Un jeu que j'aime beaucoup. Voilà, du coup c'est cool. Ça va et toi? Bah oui, bah moi ça va bien. Ça va très bien. Ça va très bien. Les chats qui étaient en train de se battre dans mon jardin ont arrêté avant que je lance le live, donc c'est cool. Au moins, je vous aurai pas de bruit. Pas totalement réveillé, mais ça va. D'accord. Bon, moi, du coup, j'ai déjà répondu. Du coup, aujourd'hui, on va commencer notre aventure dans le Far West. On va commencer Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Alors déjà, est-ce qu'il y a des gens qui ont déjà joué à ce jeu? Est-ce qu'il y a des gens qui le connaissent? Est-ce qu'il y a des gens qui l'ont déjà vu? Enfin, vu, joué, enfin, des gens qui le connaissent, tout simplement. Ça m'intéresse de savoir si vous connaissez ou pas. Attends, j'en profite pour passer la pub. Juste après, bien entendu, à la fin de ce stream, je serai chez Titi. On sait pas à quelle heure on va lancer, parce qu'on aura quelques petits réglages à faire, mais voilà. Nope, ça me dit rien. Ok, très bien. 2 secondes, hein, je m'ouvre à boire. Je m'ouvre ma bouteille. Hop. Du coup, tout simplement, c'est un jeu, donc, comme je l'ai dit, dans le Far West, où on incarne un, un cowboy, tout simplement. Et en fait, c'est une sorte de petite histoire narrative où. Enfin, de petite histoire narrative. C'est un gros shoot 'em all, hein, en gros, hein, quand même. Mais avec un fond narratif, c'est-à-dire que c'est une histoire qui va nous être racontée, puis on va faire en fait les bribes d'histoire qui nous sont racontées, on va les réaliser en fait en jouant. Du coup, voilà. Et c'est une histoire de cow-boy, simplement. Je pense que je peux pas faire plus simple comme explication. Donc voilà. Et j'aime beaucoup ce jeu parce que je le trouve très bien foutu. Il est pas trop long normalement, mais je le trouve très cool. Donc voilà, du coup on va découvrir ça ensemble. C'est la première fois que je le lance sur le PC, donc je sais pas du tout ce que ça va donner, mais j'ai envie de vous dire que la vie est faite d'aventures et qu'on va découvrir ça ensemble, hein. Normalement il tourne. Normalement il tourne même facilement. J'ai oublié de vider ma corbeille, donc du coup ça reste. Charge un peu le PC, hop. Vite ça parce que c'est des trucs très lourds qu'il y a dedans, donc hop, voilà. Très bien. C'est bon, j'ai pas bugué? Non, c'est bon, tout va bien. Alors, Call of Juarez Gunslinger, je l'ai ici. Parce qu'il avait été donné gratuitement par Steam à un moment. Juste après que je l'ai acheté à Papy d'ailleurs. Parce que c'était ton cadeau. C'est le cadeau que je t'avais fait, je crois, pour le dernier Noël, il me semble. Je sais plus. Je sais qu'Iné, je vais refaire Tengami, toi, il me semble que c'était Call of Juarez Gunslinger, et peu de temps après, il avait été donné libre. Enfin, il avait été donné gratuitement. Ce qui m'avait fait beaucoup rire. Ah merde, il y a des installations à faire du coup, il y a des configurations initiales. Bon, c'est pas long. C'est pas très long. Ça devrait aller. Juste des petits trucs de DirectX de l'époque du jeu du coup pour que ça puisse tourner correctement. J'espère que je pourrai le stream correctement d'ailleurs, parce que bon, on sait que les vieux jeux des fois c'est un peu capricieux. Donc on verra bien. Donc là si je bug c'est normal, hein, c'est parce qu'il y a des trucs qui s'installent. J'ai l'impression que ça galère à trouver le truc tellement c'est vieux. Ça c'est bon, ça l'a trouvé, nickel. Allez, synchronise le Steam Cloud, vas-y. Synchronise-moi tout ça. Je me prépare à baisser le son parce que je sens que ça va être fort. Préparez vos oreilles. Moi je l'ai coupé à temps. Hop, on va le mettre à 30. 30 c'est bien. Ah par contre ouais le jeu. Ah ouais d'accord. Alors attends, faut voir quoi? Le logo de gauche. Bah oui en fait faut que je sois giga visible en fait. Oui parce que moi je joue avec la luminosité baissée sur mon écran. Et ça m'a enlevé le filtre lumière bleue, très bien. Alors attendez, hop. Faut peut-être que je vous montre le jeu aussi, ça peut être pas mal, hein. C'est vrai que ça peut être bien de vous montrer le jeu. J'ai faim et YouTube me met des recettes de trucs qui ont l'air bons, qui ont l'air si bons sous le nez. Ah c'est toujours pareil ça, hein. Alors normalement le jeu s'affiche chez vous. Enfin sur le petit écran en dessous de moi. Je mon nom. Attendez. On va déjà passer en grand écran comme ça si jamais le jeu s'affiche je le verrai. Déjà est-ce que niveau son du jeu ça va? Ah zut le chat, c'est vrai que je l'avais mis au-dessus de tout. Attendez. Hop, j'ai oublié de le régler ça d'ailleurs. Hop. De toute façon, bientôt ces scènes-là vont changer, donc ouais, pas très grave. Est-ce que je laisse là? Est-ce que ça va gêner? Non, en vrai, attends, je vais le mettre dessous. Hein. Non, ça va gêner. Hop, voilà. Désolé, hein. Excusez-moi. Bon, le son du jeu, ça a l'air d'aller de ce que je vois. Dites-moi si c'est trop fort. Hein. Ah oui, il y a des trucs, il y a des petits collectibles à trouver, hein, les pépites de vérité. Voilà. Les petits secrets. Par contre, je sais pas du tout à quoi ça ressemble, hein, donc je vais peut-être vérifier dans mes options pour essayer de le mettre au plus bas possible aussi. Enfin, pas forcément tout au plus bas, mais mettre assez bas pour éviter que ça rame. Hop. Voilà, on va mettre comme ça. Gamma, c'est quoi? Ah, gamma, c'est ça, donc très bien. Ah! Je devrais relancer le jeu, annuler. Bon, on va pas le faire du coup, on va laisser comme ça, hein. Ça va pas bugger, de toute façon le jeu est vieux. Je viens de voir qu'on pouvait faire oignon farci. Ah oui, oui, ça existe, oui. Est-ce que le son du jeu, ça va? Dites-moi. Est-ce que vous m'entendez toujours? Est-ce que c'est trop fort? Est-ce qu'il faut que je baisse? Est-ce qu'il faut que je monte? C'est possible. C'est imaginable. Tiens, j'ai oublié que quand t'appuies là-dessus, ça t'ouvre le truc des succès sur Steam. Mon dieu. Classement? Total arcade? D'accord, il y a un classement sur le jeu, je savais pas du tout. J'attends votre réponse avant de lancer le jeu du coup, hein. Je veux savoir si vraiment le son ça va. Après peut-être que vous m'entendez pas et du coup c'est peut-être le problème. Hein. Ah oui d'accord, bon, ça va, c'est bon, nickel, on va pouvoir commencer. C'est parti. Ah oui, il y a plusieurs modes, mais on va faire l'histoire. Je vais mettre en normal, le but n'est pas d'avoir une expérience giga compliquée non plus, le but est de prendre du plaisir. Ah oui, clairement, papy, hein, j'aurais attendu. Hein. Je veux être sûr que vous ayez les meilleures expériences. Il y a un truc que je voulais vérifier, mais je crois qu'il n'y a que l'anglais par contre. On va lire les sous-titres.
Don't I know you, sir?
Don't believe so. I haven't been here in many years. Name's Silas Greaves.
Silas Greaves? The bounty hunter?
Used to be.
Ah, what are you doing here in Abilene?
Just passing through. Got a little business to take care of.
Well, sir, it would be an honor if you would allow me to buy you a beer.
Hell, son, it would be my honor to drink it.
I'm Molly. Howdy.
I'm Dwight. That's Jack and Steve. Ben's behind the bar. Oh, I bet you got some great stories.
A couple.
Any of them true?
Coucou
Jack,
Titi,
be nice.
j'espère que tu vas bien.
What about your shootout with Henry Plummer's gang in Bannock, Montana? Is that where you started as a bounty hunter? That's what it says in this here dime novel.
Don't believe everything you read in them dime novels, boy. First man I hunted was back when I was riding with Billy the Kid.
You knew Billy the Kid?
Damn right. That scrawny son of a bitch had no fear. Wouldn't back down for nobody.
Ah bien,
I heard
merci.
he collected the 10 stars off any crooked lawmen who crossed him.
It was a war, boy. The Lincoln County War. And Billy promised his regulators would take the life of every bastard who helped bushwhack John Tunstall.
Kid had a big chip on his shoulder and a hair-trigger temper. Made him dangerous as hell.
Cet accent et ces petites cinématiques là, ça me fait tellement kiffer le jeu. Et voilà, du coup la première mission où notre personnage qu'on contrôle, du coup Silas Greaves, explique qu'il a bossé avec Billy the Kid, enfin selon ce qu'il raconte, selon ses dires. Et en fait toute l'histoire en fait va suivre cette petite discussion au bar. Du coup, voilà. Donc il va raconter ses aventures, à chaque fois du coup on va jouer les aventures derrière. Et je trouve ça vachement cool comme principe.
It was about 30 years ago. Billy was hiding out in an abandoned farm near Stinking Springs. I threw in with the kid because the man
Regardez,
I had
c'est
sworn
beau quand même,
vengeance
hein.
on was riding with Billy's enemies.
Je veux dire, c'est quand même
But
stylé.
before I
Hein.
tell you why I want that son of a
Ça a pas
bitch
trop
dead,
mal vieilli en vrai.
let me tell you what happened that day. I was heading back to the hideout when suddenly I had this funny feeling.
Funny, haha.
No, Steve. The other kind of funny.
Regardez ça. C'est quand même beau, hein. Je veux dire, c'est bien fait. Je crois que le jeu date de... Je sais plus de quand il date. Je sais que le truc DirectX, ça me disait juin 2010. Je veux dire, pour un vieux jeu, c'est quand même très beau, quoi. Regarde ça. Regarde l'animation, quoi. Je veux dire, t'as des jeux aujourd'hui qui ont des animations moins belles, hein. Que les espèces de petits fagnons, là. T'as des jeux qui ont des animations moins belles aujourd'hui. Alors du coup, objectif, revenir au repère. Ok, par là.
You heard Pat. You need to stay here and keep an eye on the road.
That's not fair. We're missing all the fun.
I knew those two morons would never let me through. I had no choice.
Shoot that sumbitch!
Ça va, je pas trop perdu de niveau. Alors, vous gagnez de l'expérience en tuant des ennemis. Cette expérience vous sert à améliorer votre personnage et gagner des compétences.
Was it Pat Garrett's posse?
Oh yeah. I heard the shots
bien
and I
latéralement,
knew I
oui.
had to move fast.
Ah oui, d'accord, oui, Papy qui fait ses éditions.
Garrett and his army of deputies had surrounded the entire homestead.
Du coup, ouais, en passant sur les corps, on peut ramasser des balles et des fois des armes aussi. Mais les armes, je sais plus comment on les ramasse, donc il va falloir qu'on fasse avec ça.
I decided to help Billy and the boys out a bit.
Ah oui, du coup, oui, on a la
So
jauge de
that's
concentration.
just what I did.
Voilà. Les bruits de tir me font délire à chaque fois.
As the governor of New Mexico
Vous
was
gagnez
paying for the
Candela et
kids'
baigné d'air.
apprehension,
Yes.
Garrett was able to hire every gun hand in Lincoln County.
Non, attends, je vais rien. Et après, évidemment, t'as plusieurs flingues disponibles dans le jeu, hein. Et tous ont leur petite spécificité, genre viser plus vite, plus de dégâts. Et des fois, t'as des flingues dorées aussi. Mais je sais plus comment on les obtient. On va prendre les munitions, hein, tant qu'on y est.
I knew that going through that front door meant putting my butt in a shooting gallery, so I decided to get sneaky.
Et voilà, oui, les secrets, du coup, c'est ça. C'est comme ça qu'on a trouvé les secrets. Et on a gagné un niveau. Et du coup, voilà, ouais, on pouvait choisir ce qu'on voulait faire. Donc, on pouvait choisir, du coup, d'améliorer notre combat au fusil à pompe, ou au fusil à distance, et au flingue à distance, du coup. Ou sinon, au pistolet rose, c'est-à-dire avoir deux pistolets en même temps. Et moi, j'aimais bien avoir deux pistolets, si je me rappelle bien. Attends, c'était quoi, sinon? La mire ralentit le temps, non. Et ça, ouais, ça c'était pour faire du combat rapproché. Mais tiens, je vais prendre un Kimbo. C'est pour ça que je pouvais pas prendre les armes tout à l'heure.
Garrett's men were running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off.
Il est quand même très beau ce jeu.
Still, one of them reached the water tower.
Ah oui, attends, je peux esquiver. Ah oui, d'accord, donc vu que la balle est à droite, faut que j'aille à gauche. Hop là. Y'a pas moyen de ramasser une arme là? Y'a pas un flingue? Non.
Luckily, these shooters Garrett hired weren't the sharpest tools in the shed. The right position is very important. Personally, I prefer to be on top.
Ah là.
Oh, you do, David.
Indeed, darling.
Voilà, et là du coup, là on découvre un autre flingue.
Oh yeah. A lot of them were
Je crois qu'il est plus puissant mais il tire moins vite. Voilà. Ouais, il one shot par contre celui-là. Oh, j'en ai tué un derrière le rideau, tiens. J'ai même pas voulu ça. Et voilà, du coup, regardez, hop, on peut avoir deux flingues en même temps. Faut juste connaître les touches. Ah oui, par contre, faut éviter les barils de poudre, c'est comme dans tous les jeux.
Back door! We'll cover you! God damn it, watch your flank! Truth be told, things weren't much better behind the house. I cut their numbers in half, but that just made the ones that were left twice as mad. They made up for their lack of skill with a seemingly endless supply of ammo. It was a bit of a slog, but I finally fought my way around the back of the house.
On va prendre quelques balles au passage.
And like that, I was inside, none the worse for wear. I passed Dirty Dave, and upstairs I found Billy and Charlie Bolden.
Les fiches de présentation aussi, hein. Incroyable.
Billy looked at me and said, "About time, amigo. Grab a gun and get to the window."
Wait, so you were friends with Billy the Kid?
Yeah, sort of. Anyway, we were surrounded by dozens of deputized shooters who wanted to do us harm. I'm telling you, Garrett's men were dropping like flies, but they just kept on coming. I think I got one! That's when Charlie got hit.
Ah, bon, la pause.
They're catching us in a crossfire, shouted Billy. Get to the other side.
C'est vrai, il y en a un là-haut. C'est pour ça que j'aurais dû garder le baril de poudre en bas. Il y en a encore un qui me tire dessus là. Il y en a un là-bas. Il y en a encore en haut, j'ai vu.
Suckers I personally put down, but it was pretty clear, even to Billy, that maybe discretion was the better part of valor.
What's that mean?
It means that it was time to cut and run. They got a Gatlin, Billy shouted. Get the horses and bring them round back. I'll draw their attention. He directed that order at me, and I thought, why the hell do I have to do it? But I went anyway. Dumbass that I was back then. Many would have fled in my place. But I had that false sense of invincibility that many young men have. Like Jack here.
What are you saying, old man?
Jack is just joshing with him.
Yeah, he better be.
Mr. Greaves, please continue.
Please, call me Silas, ma'am. Now, where was I?
You were heading for the barn.
Right. Making my way past the castle of fallen oaks.
Tellement stylé ça.
Garrett hired a whole regiment of hired guns.
Yeah, and just when I thought I was done with them, more of these hapless bastards would pop up.
J'espère que ça vous plaît pour le moment. Je crois que c'est quelques pertes d'images ou c'est le jeu qui est comme ça. Ah, je dois avoir des pertes d'images. Oh. Et ce PC il fait rien tourner, hein, c'est l'enfer. Ah, vérifier. Non, pourtant non, j'ai que 5 pertes d'images. Non, c'est peut-être le jeu qui est comme ça. Hein. Non, ça doit être le jeu, hein, vraiment. Parce que j'ai que 5 pertes d'images sur beaucoup d'images. Donc non, ça doit être le jeu qui doit vous faire ça, à mon avis. En même temps, c'est un vieux jeu sur un PC neuf. Des fois, tu sais, les compatibilités, ça se fait pas trop. C'est un peu de mal. Mais c'est vrai que je ressens des fois ouais, qu'il y a des petits sauts d'image ouais, sur le jeu.
And that's when I met Sheriff Pat Garrett.
I read that you went toe-to-toe with him, sir. That backstabbing bastard with that tacked-on tin star.
Ah. Un des trucs que j'aime le moins faire sur le jeu, c'est que j'ai toujours du mal. Les duels.
You challenged him to a showdown.
You read that in a dime novel?
It said he showed no fear as he took your measure with eyes like a rattlesnake.
Par contre, c'est vrai que sur le stream, je vois des sauts d'images un peu partout alors qu'il n'y en a pas sur mon jeu. C'est bizarre ça. Ah ouais, faut rester focalisé avec ça. Je vais suivre avec ses mouvements. Faut dégainer en même temps. Quand on traverse sa pâte à dégainer, appuyez sur RT pour faire de même. Éviter.
And that you killed him in a fair fight.
C'est pas simple ça.
Is that what that Penny Dreadful said? No, boy. That ain't what I meant when I said
Encore en
I
normal
met
ça va.
Pat Garrett. So let me start again. I finally reached those damn stables.
Mais c'est vrai que vous avez beaucoup de sauts d'images sur le stream, c'est dommage.
Stepped inside, and last thing I heard was Garrett's voice.
Oui, bah ça, je m'en doute pour toi, New, oui.
And go on. How did it end?
Mais pourtant, j'ai pas de perte d'image, c'est bizarre.
Boy, that was just the beginning.
Et voilà, du coup, on a fini notre niveau. Précision 56%. Oups, ça fait un moment que j'ai pas joué. Et on a fait voilà une victoire à la loyale sur le duel contre Pat Garrett. Donc voilà. 67 ennemis tués en une mission. Et je crois qu'il nous reste un point de compétence à mettre. Attends, détermination, poche spacieuse. On va prendre ça pour les munitions, ça peut toujours être utile. Hop. Vous avez l'air de ne pas trop en baver, que direz-vous de passer en mode difficile? Non, je vous ai dit, moi je vais faire en normal. Coucou Kiné, j'espère que tu vas bien. Désolé pour le stream, il y a quelques sauts d'image. J'ai pas de perte d'image, mais visiblement le jeu a du mal à faire le lien avec le stream.
After I came to, the bastard had clocked me with his Colt.
And the kid surrendered?
When he realized there was no getting out of there alive.
So they locked you up in Lincoln?
Indeed they did. Sentenced me to hang right along with the kid.
Après Stinking Springs, Billy the Kid et Silas Graves ont fini sous les barreaux ensemble. Et j'ai pas le temps de finir la phrase. Mais bon, en gros, voilà, à mon avis, ils vont s'échapper ensemble, quoi. Il me semble que c'est ça. Bon, la phrase, il devait être pendu le même jour.
It's important to know that I was only riding with Billy so I could find the bastard I was after. He was with John Kinney's gang, and they were sworn enemies of Billy's regulators.
Oh, vous avez pas recommencé, hein.
Why were you after him?
I owed that son of a bitch a bullet for what he had done to me and mine. Instead, all I got for myself was a goddamn death sentence. Luckily, it was right around then that I heard Billy make his move. He shot Jim Bell and a few other guards as he made his getaway. Later, they wrote that some lady friend planted a pistol for him in the privy. What the papers didn't say is that Billy helped me escape too. My first order of business was finding a firearm.
Hop, un petit secret trouvé. Toujours bien ça. Alors, attends, il faut trouver une arme.
Luckily, I located Deputy Bob Ollinger's mean-ass shotgun.
Ah non, c'est pas une carabine, c'est un fusil à pompe. J'aime bien la phrase. Peut couper un homme en deux. C'est un peu puissant comme arme, quoi.
I saw Billy through the window, and he yelled that I should take to the rooftops to make my escape. So I did.
Anybody see Billy?
Hell yeah. That
Tu es au-dessus du
scattergun
texte.
was like a
Heureusement que tu le
double-barreled
dis.
howitzer.
Au-dessus du texte. Non, il est en bas le
Blow a man
texte.
clear off his face. You hardly had to aim the damn thing. The kids escaped raised a huge ruckus.
Attends, je suis vraiment au-dessus du texte. Ah, faudra que je bouge ma cave après. Ça va pas être
Guards
cool
were
pour vous.
everywhere looking for it.
Ah non, je suis pas au-dessus. Vous voyez le texte? Il est en bas. Les phrases que tu trouvais drôles. Ah bon, il était en haut? Ah oui, d'accord, oui, sur les images générales, ouais.
I followed the flanks
Sur les
where I
images de
could.
présentation, je vois.
Some of that wood was slippery as hell. The whole town was up in arms. Suddenly, I was a
C'était
fugitive.
pas ça. Je me suis perdu sur le chemin. Faut vraiment que je me serve du truc pour me retrouver, par contre. Fuir de toi en toi. Oui. Très bien. Ah oui, d'accord, faut que j'aille là-bas. Très bien. Ok, c'est bon.
So that bastard you were after, what did he do?
He did me and my family a grievous harm. But I knew if I was ever going to find him, I would need to get my ever-loving ass out of there. I tried to be stealthy and sneak my way past.
This town doesn't have a moment's peace.
Faut que j'aille par où? Par là-bas?
You! But hell, if they weren't all waiting for me. Apparently, some of them thought I was Billy.
You hooligans can go to hell.
Ah, t'étais pas obligé de clipper, papy, hein, je l'ai cru, hein, t'inquiète.
It's you or me. Me and the kid shared a certain similarity in build and color. I was just glad I had Deputy Bob's mean-ass shotgun.
They're shooting in the street.
Leave him to me! Get your headstone!
There's children here.
So much lead was whizzing by my head, it was like everyone in Lincoln wanted to put me in the ground. I knew I needed to find a horse.
Ok, on a un truc en plus et en ce moment on a ça, donc on va peut-être se servir de ça justement.
Though I never did have a great fondness for them four-legged grass eaters. Smelly, sweaty, ungrateful beasts. We prize them too high, if you ask me.
Par là. Vous avez clippé la même chose ou Oui, carreau. Ah, que je continue là? Ok, ah oui, d'accord.
But where was the kid while you were busy getting shot at?
Gone. And that's when it occurred to me why Billy set me free.
D'accord, c'est plus la même chose. Très bien. Ah, là, ça lance automatiquement.
So I could be a hapless decoy and draw attention while he snuck out of town. I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on my head.
Because everybody in Lincoln would be dead?
No. They all thought I was Billy. And all that blame would fall on him. Meanwhile, Deputy Bob Ollinger was organizing a posse to put me down. He was already a mean son of a bitch, but he was doubly pissed that I stole his mean ass
Précision par
shotgun.
contre, on passera. Hein. Je t'ai vu là-bas. Il est tout seul ça? Il y en a un là-haut. Non, non, il n'y en a pas là-haut. Il est là. J'entends encore là. Oh putain, il n'y en a pas qu'un. C'est chaud ça. Un bleu qui court, je rêve. Ah, ça c'est la concentration en fait. C'est un truc que tu remarqueras, t'as une jauge en haut à gauche avec le flingue. C'est un truc qui se charge du coup. Voilà. Pas une vision d'aigle, c'est un truc qui ralentit le temps pour que tu puisses, tu puisses tuer tout le monde quoi. Enfin, si tu vises bien.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Sure he did. Dispatched him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir. Because Bob came right up behind me, angry as hell that Billy had lit out. Hello, Bob, I said. I think you better let me go. And he says, I don't think so, boy. Not with my shotgun. So
Je l'ai
we
posé
stood
son
there in
truc.
the middle of the street.
Je l'ai posé
Eyeball
son
to eyeball.
fusil.
He intended to kill me, and I knew I had no choice but to defend myself.
Regardez la position de votre main. Pour dégainer plus vite. C'est là que ça se complique les phases comme ça.
I killed him in a fair fight. Everybody saw I had no damn choice.
J'ai toujours peur sur ces trucs là, même si en normal c'est assez facile quand même, mais ça me fait toujours peur les gueules parce qu'ils sont durs en général.
3 months later, so his escape was all for naught anyway.
Est-ce que j'ai des compétences à mettre? Très bien. Hop. Je défonce le jeu, c'est pas drôle. Ouais, mais en difficile, j'avancerai pas du
So
tout.
where'd you go after Lincoln?
Mexico. Until I realized nobody was looking for me.
Vu ma précision, je vais pas passer en difficile aujourd'hui. Hein,
The
crois-moi.
Mexican rurales?
I was hired to help them track down the cowboys.
The most vicious outlaw gang in Cochise County? Curly Bill Brocious? Johnny Ringo?
Led by old man Clanton himself.
They must have paid you a pretty penny to take them hombres on.
Not really. But truth be told, I had my own reasons for going after those boys.
Sauf quand tu te jettes dans le vide. Marrant. Une balle pour le vieillard. Ah non merde, cours papy. Les cowboys étaient un énorme gang de hors-la-loi mené par Old Man Clinton. Dégage la bestiole. C'est un problème? Casse-toi. Ah, ouais, ça peut pas être tranquille. Toujours des bestioles pour enlever ici. En même temps, c'est printemps, il fait chaud, c'est normal.
So was the bastard you were after now riding with the cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Oh.
But no, this time it was a different bastard I was after. The aforementioned Mr. Ringo. I came upon them robbing a stagecoach, which wasn't surprising, being they were such murderous thieves and bastards. The bandits wore red scarves, so I knew they worked for the old man. Over there! I did my best to help those poor passengers.
Après aussi, il faut dire que le jeu a une ambiance très cinématique. Comment avec ton gun et je te l'envoie. Ah d'accord, ok. En fait, il faut aussi savoir qu'il n'est que le jeu a une ambiance très cinématique avec les trucs, c'est de vision deck comme tu dis et tout ça. Parce qu'en fait, c'est une histoire racontée par quelqu'un, c'est pas la vraie histoire en fait, c'est l'histoire racontée par notre personnage. Donc en fait, il se remémore le truc, donc c'est pour ça que tout n'est pas exactement comme ça pourrait être réaliste, on va dire.
None. It was then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did. They would appear in great numbers from above and rain down lead on their hapless enemies' heads, making use of the high ground and whatever else they had. Yep, the Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to it.
Hold on. Were you attacked by Apaches? What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say
Tous
they
les
were
adversaires qui
bad?
s'affichent en rouge contre
I
le
said
cinéma, faudrait
Clanton's
utiliser ça.
cowboys attacked me, Apache
Oui, non mais oui, ça
style.
d'accord, fait que ça
I was in
s'affiche
a
en rouge,
pitched
oui en
battle,
effet.
But I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force.
Ils auraient pu mettre que le ralenti, je suis bien d'accord.
See, at the time, I was still pretty green and would often blunder into regrettable situations. But I just kept shooting at anything I could see up in those damn rocks. I didn't see Ringo, but I knew he was with the cowboys. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a dreadful wrong, and I was determined to have my revenge. But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to fight my way past these other assholes first. Fortunately, I was running out of ammo. Another perfect example of my relative inexperience as a hunter of men. I immediately knew that a tactical retreat was called for, as my vengeful fury was much less impressive without the bullets to back it up.
Ça arrêtera pas de venir.
Finally, they managed to kill me. Trapped as I was, the odds of my survival seemed pretty slim.
Oui, en effet. Cours. Alors je me dis que c'est voulu. D'accord,
Serendipity was on my side as I
c'est voulu.
suddenly spotted a way out of my predicament. I ran ahead as if the devil himself was after me. Bullets were whizzing by my ears, but I wasn't about to roll over and die.
J'ai pas le droit de changer d'arme.
I just
J'ai
kept
pas le droit.
running like there was
Mais
no
pourquoi ils le mettent là
tomorrow.
alors si j'ai pas le droit?
Because there wouldn't be. Clanton and his men caught up with me.
Ah, c'est où qu'il faut que j'aille?
As I was scurrying around those caves, I thought,
Ah, c'était pas le bon côté.
what was I thinking? Going up against a gang like this.
C'était point le bon côté. On court. On cherche pas d'armes, on court.
Where's he gonna run to now?
Avec notre personnage a les chevilles fragiles. Les chevilles fragiles.
I just kept running, not knowing where the hell I was going. And that's when something miraculous happened. Like manna from heaven, I found the desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache warrior. The old weapon next to him supplied me with some much-needed ammunition.
J'ai oublié qu'il se passait ça par contre.
Bat Masterson once told me it was more important to be lucky than good, and he would know. And imagine my surprise when I found a fistful of dynamite to go along with that ammo. That stroke of good fortune evened the odds and bolstered my confidence. It was time to turn the tables. Time for the prey to become the predator. Time for the hunted to become the hunter. Time.
All right, Jesus, we get it. They were right where you wanted them.
That's right, Jack. I
Regarde
was
cette
done
bestiole, il va
running.
falloir que je la tue après.
The old man's boys were not expecting that. No, sir. I came at them like a wildcat. My fury knew no bounds.
Attends, je vais me poser devant un certain prépare-vous pour être à jour cet après-midi. Je pensais me réveiller plus tôt et avoir le temps de regarder avant ton live. Ah oui, mais il n'y a pas de souci. Il n'y a pas de souci, t'inquiète pas. Même si tu veux te reposer, tu as le droit, hein. Tu n'es pas obligé d'être là, hein, tu sais. Ça me fait plaisir quand t'es là, mais si jamais t'as besoin de te reposer ou de faire des choses, fais-le.
I yelled out at the top of my lungs, Clanton, I'm coming for you!
Je suis où tu te caches? Ça me rappelle vraiment ça, cette scène, hein. Philippe, je suis où tu te caches? Ouais, ne t'inquiète, il n'y a pas de souci. À partir du moment où la personne a une occupation, même si t'as pas d'occupation, c'est pas grave. Mais bon, là pour le coup, t'as vraiment en plus une bonne raison de ne pas venir, et puis même si t'as pas de raison, c'est pas grave.
I needed to get that old man off that gun.
Ah mais on peut pas le tirer dessus d'ici, on n'a pas l'angle. Ah, c'était pas le bon endroit. Il fallait passer de l'autre côté. Ah, c'était un peu long. Parce qu'il recharge vite le vieux. Le Rodman Clanton. C'est qu'on peut se tirer, hein. Ah bah.
Let me tell you, that was the longest uphill climb of my entire damn life. Well, one of the longest. There was that one time I was pursuing Frank James, Jesse James' brother.
Jesse James?
Perhaps we could talk about that one later. Now, where was I? Right. I had old man Clanton in my sights. Most everyone thought it was the Ruales who had come up against him in Guadalupe Canyon, but it was just me.
J'ai encore épée. C'est pas vrai. Non, je peux être aussi nul, moi. Oh non, je me suis bloqué sur la roue. Non. Ah, je me suis bloqué sur la roue du truc. Oh zut. Il y en avait un autre, non? Badaboum. Il y a plus de balles. Hop. Voilà.
Apparently, one of the cowboys made it out of there alive and told Ike and Billy Clanton that it wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps, and that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral.
Eh, 75% de précision, on s'améliore. Hein. C'est beaucoup mieux. Nous devenons meilleurs. Réglons de compte à la série. Si ça et là, ça poursuit les cowboys, c'était moins pour l'argent que pour se venger d'un de ses ennemis jurés, Johnny Ringo. Ah, j'aime bien ce jeu, je sais pas, il me met dans une ambiance. Malgré les quelques trucs qui sortent un peu, genre les personnages rouges quand tu te concentres.
A few weeks after that dust-up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. I had tracked him and the cowboys to their hideout at a sawmill, and they were loaded for bear.
So, what exactly did Johnny Ringo do to piss you off?
Well, him and that other bastard.
Roscoe Bob Bright?
Yep. They both deserve to die, and I promise I'll tell you why. But first I need to tell you about the Cowboys' new boss, Curly Bill Brocious.
Earp's coming!
Get ready, boys.
God damn you!
Curly Bill took charge of the Cowboys upon the old man's demise. And after that gunfight at the OK Corral, the Clantons wanted revenge. So they murdered Morgan Earp and grievously wounded his older brother, Virgil. Wyatt and Doc went on what became known as the Vendetta Ride, hunting those outlaws down. So when I showed up, that's who they thought I was. There were killers around every corner, all wearing red bandanas. That's how the cowboys identified each other. And I was beginning to wish I had one myself. But I wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed. And that's what drove me
Nouveau
forward.
niveau. Ranger. Ah, ça pourrait être pas mal ça. Voilà. À la fin, tu débloques le fusil en or,
They
c'était comme
say
ça.
that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
God damn, he's hard to hit!
Ouais, donc je vais garder celui-ci. Par contre, je vais prendre la carabine à canon ciel.
Herb wasn't much of a match for him, but Doc Holliday might have taken it.
Non, je peux être aussi
That Longer should
nul.
have kept his nose out of it.
Là.
They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah, maybe so. But Ringo had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it? Being loyal. Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
What's that, Dwight?
After old man Clanton died, why didn't his son take over the Cowboys?
Because Ike Clanton was dumber than a box of rocks and a yellow belly to boot.
Attends, je vois lui. Là. Ah oui, là. Je sens que j'aurais besoin de ça.
Where was I?
Taking down the entire cowboy gang single-handed.
Indeed I was, Jack. Well, it wasn't easy, as those boys had good cover.
Ouais, le six shooter sera peut-être plus avantageux dans cette situation-là.
Carts everywhere, piles of lumber, and God knows what else for people to hide behind. That really was one hell of a sawmill. Quite an impressive operation.
And where was Curly Bill? Did you see him?
Tu l'as tué.
I'm about to get to
Tu l'as
that,
tué à la
Ben.
W, le mec.
Patience.
Comment ça, j'ai tué à la W? Six shooter? Hein?
I'm painting a
Attends,
picture
je comprends pas. Explique-moi.
There was this beautiful waterfall and a crystal clear stream that led
C'est
to a
beau quand même,
verdant
regardez.
valley that was
Je veux dire, pour un jeu
Consider
aussi
the picture
vieux.
painted. What happened next?
Enfin, je veux dire,
Finally, the
il a facile
bastards
plus
that
de
were
10
still
ans ce
alive
jeu.
made a last stand.
C'est quand même beau, quoi. Regarde ça. La dynamite. Ah, oui, d'accord. Là, ça va se taper.
Curly
Je sens.
Bill, Johnny Ringo, and his compadres took off into the lumber yard, and I followed after.
Non, ivrogne, il y a rogne. Ok, d'accord.
Are you saying they ran? Cowardice was not in Ringo nor Curly Bill's nature.
No, sir. I never said they were running scared. They just wanted me out in the open.
Oui, voilà. Ah, il est là lui. Ça marche, bon leurre, piétiné. Il est là. C'est pas lui. Je me suis acharné pour rien. Il est là.
Brocious gave me no choice but to take his life. But Ringo was nowhere to be found.
I knew you didn't kill Ringo, because he was found dead in a different location altogether.
To this day, his killer is still unknown.
Indeed. Took me a few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
Cette moustache. J'en suis jaloux. Ah non, pas ça.
That's incredible, sir. I always thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him.
Je vais être si lent.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you, boy.
Heureusement que j'ai une bonne
But
focalisation.
the legend ain't always
Ah, j'aurais une focalisation de merde, c'était foutu là, vu la vitesse. Hein. Ah, j'arrive pas à gérer les deux. C'est
Doc
terrible.
Holliday had nothing to do with the death of Johnny Ringo. I was paid a healthy
pas
bounty
s'il y a des
for
speedruns
Ringo
sur
and
ce
Curly Bill,
pense
and
pas.
realized there was real money to be made. That's why I went after Henry Plummer.
Now, wasn't he the sheriff who augmented his income by shaking down miners and robbing gold shipments?
That's the one.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. He ran that gang of thieving outlaws called the Innocents.
So it's true that you went toe-to-toe with him?
Indeed I did, son. Indeed I did.
Le premier chapitre d'un saga vengeresse de Silas s'est refermé sur la mort de Johnny Ringo, et au début d'une sanglante carrière de chasseur de primes pour Silas. L'homme au colt et l'or. C'est parti.
I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant, and hunting Plummer looked like a good way to get rich quick. As the local vigilantes exposed him as the leader of the bandits, and put a generous price on his head. Plummer rallied his gang to plunder one last gold mine before making their escape, and that's where I thought I'd find him.
It makes me nervous standing so close to all these goddamn barrels of gunpowder.
Why would you be nervous? No one has the cojones to come after us. As long as you don't light up a cigar, we're fine.
Besides, George is up there on the rocks with that rifle of his. Nothing gets past him.
Peut-être moyen de passer discrètement là, non? Non, je crois pas qu'on puisse passer ici. J'ai utilisé le fusil tout de suite. Ils ont parlé de gunpowder tout à l'heure. Derrière un baril pas loin. Attends, eux ils sont là. barrer là, le gunpowder? Ah oui.
My late father pointed out to me more than once. God made men. Samuel Colt made them equal.
Bouge encore? Non, c'est bon. Ah, bah alors toi? Non, ça c'est pas un baril. Hop. Mais attends, mais ça va faire un gros boom si je tire dessus. Ah, j'aurais dû tirer là en fait. Quel idiot. Un ranger. Ah oui, celui-là il est bien. Le problème, là, le problème, vous le voyez là, du coup, c'est que j'ai deux flingues différents. Donc il y en a un qui va faire beaucoup de dégâts et l'autre, ça va rien faire du tout. Donc, je vais rester à un flingue. Hop. Bien comme ci. Ah. Et on a de nouveau un point. On va mettre recharge en courant. Bon si, ouais, recharge en courant c'est cool. Voilà. Vraiment il m'éblouit ce jeu. Je le trouve beaucoup trop stylé. Attends. C'est dans la grotte qu'il fallait rester? C'est que tu me dis, le jeu? L'entrée de la mine. Ah mais c'était pas là? Ah oui d'accord, c'était ici qu'il fallait aller. Parti au mauvais endroit.
I knew that dynamite wasn't mine, so I decided the polite thing would be to return it. It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to those riches. There were thieves, killers, robbing travelers, and hijacking gold shipments. Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy pickings. Charlie Crow, the blacksmith. James, who worked in the stable. Sam and Jeremiah Barber, the butcher's sons. Ordinary citizens who lived a double life. Plummer had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. Of course, the rest were veterans of the Civil War. Stone-cold killers trained on the bloody fields of Shiloh and Antietam. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to breach.
This is our gold now.
Dangerous, desperate individual. I was outnumbered and in way over my head, but I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. They must have thought I was tough. Or had some kind of death wish. Seeing as there were barrels of gunpowder everywhere. I thought I was some kind of hero. I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out. I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest way in, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way.
Ils se sont tués entre eux. Ils se sont lancés une dynamite sur eux, les débiles. Ah, on prend ça. Mais... veux quoi, toi? Dégage.
Besides, once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it. Some of those shafts could be as deep as hell. A single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion.
Ah oui, du coup, oui, les pépites de vérité, en gros, ouais, ça explique un petit peu les histoires et tout. De trucs qui sont pas dans le jeu, mais de l'histoire de cowboy aussi.
Quick reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come.
Dégage! Oh merde, cette bestiole! Vire de là! Je l'ai eu. Un coup de t-shirt, mais je l'ai eu. Et je l'ai. Hop. Oh, l'enfer. Je me disais, c'est bizarre, il y a un truc qui me gratte la tempe. Bah oui, logique. C'était pas une bonne idée. Je me suis dit, je vais tout faire péter dès l'entrée, au moins ça va pas poser de problème. Ah mais attends, j'y pense. Ah non, je peux pas remonter. Non. C'est passé. Ah oui, mais faut vraiment tirer au bon endroit, quoi. Oh la vache. Non, non, non. Ah. Qu'est-ce que vous faites derrière le bois, monsieur? Bah, ça va, là? Enfin. Vous êtes fou? Je vais te faire péter. Je vais te faire boum. Il l'a fait à ma place. Stylé quand même cette phase de chute. Après voilà, donc là c'est une mort prévue dans le jeu. C'est pas moi qui loupé un truc.
It was a long way around, but that approach seemed more sensible at the time. Of course, being I had a problem with heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. Climbing down that ladder required some caution. Because even though I had a younger man's reflexes, no man can dodge a damn bullet while climbing down a rickety ladder. I needed to make a leap of faith. Which ain't easy when you're suspended between heaven and hell. I was determined not to give up, however. As Sheriff Plummer seemed quite the despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water.
Merci papy. Je sais pas ce que t'as clippé, mais merci pour le clip. Hein. Attends, ça ressemble bien à un truc caché, ça. Je suis sûr qu'il y a un truc caché ici. Non, y'a rien. Dommage. Bon, je cru qu'un ascenseur aurait fonctionné, Evan. Bien entendu que non. Alors je fais pas trop le tap, papy, donc je sais pas ce que t'as pris comme clip. Mais dans le doute, merci. Hein.
I wanted to use the element of surprise. Plus, I figured I could use the exercise. I was warmed up already, so what the hell? Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserved better.
Nevada City? Well, I thought Plummer met his maker in Bannock, Montana.
Right, well, he was the sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own.
Ça, ça sent le duel. Ouais, mais je ne vois pas le titre sur le portable, papy, moi. Je rappelle que mon chat est sur le portable, je ne vois pas le titre du clip, en fait. Shérif. Hors la loi. Idée de potence. Henri Plummer.
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was gonna take some doing.
No blood money for you today! Some more? You in a million pieces! I'm going all medieval on yours!
Il est là-bas. Il n'y a pas une carabine là? Pas un fusil? Au secours. Ah oui d'accord, merci papy. D'accord, bon ça fait boum. J'ai oublié qu'il était aussi dur lui. Surtout avec un fusil à pompe que j'aurais jamais dû prendre. Ow, ow, ow. Il est très relou lui comme boss. Il y en a encore un là qui me tire dessus, il est pas tout seul là. Voilà, dégage quoi. Oh là là. C'est dur hein.
And now, I was officially a bounty hunter.
54% de précision. Aïe aïe aïe. Ouh. Ah, faut que je m'améliore au ranger. Attends, j'en suis où? Là. Sans répit, rechargement rapide des fusils. Ouais, recharger plus vite, ça peut être pas mal. C'est pas le plus important, mais dans des moments, ça peut sauver la vie.
So, did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word he was in Kansas with John Wesley Hardin. So that's where I went.
Where in Kansas?
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Was Hardin as fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, but John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
Je vous avais dit que le jeu était court.
Hell, he killed his first man at 15. From that day forward, he had a price on his head and wouldn't back down for nobody, not even Wild Bill Hickok himself.
La mort du moins. Silas prétend être devenu chasseur de primes pour financer la traque de sa dernière proie, Roscoe Bryant, dit Bob.
I dodged death many a time, and that night in Abilene was no different.
Là on a du coup le nouveau flingue, le plus rapide du coup, mais qui fait pas beaucoup de dégâts.
I was there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wesley.
I thought the Texas Rangers got Hardin.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe.
Attends, on passe sur le six shooter. Pas plus de
It
dégâts.
was cold and a witch's tit and a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres to the very same saloon we're sitting in today.
Attends, faut aller dans le saloon, c'est ça? Oh bah dis donc.
Look around and imagine this place painted in blood. Hardin was waiting for me. And wait, I'm jumping the gun here. Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men. He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs. He and his men set up camp outside of town, and I was hoping Bob was among them.
Shit, it's cold out here. I'm freezing like the giblets off. God damn it! Shoot that son of a bitch!
Oui, je me suis
They
gouré de
didn't
bouton.
ask why I was there. They knew. As most of them were wanted as well. I figured Hardin was here somewhere, but to get to him, I'd have to get past his gun hands. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was carousing in town with his closest friends.
Hop, et le petit secret?
Hardin's boys apparently didn't want me to reach the Bull's Head.
Ah, il y a un flingue là.
Some were hightailing it into town to inform their jefe of my unwelcomed presence.
Tu veux que shooter, ça c'est bien.
Tell Hardin someone's coming for him.
Ouais, quelqu'un là.
I wondered if Bob was among them.
Let the boys know you got another law, dog. Run! That's right. Run!
Il y a un truc là. Un autre secret. Oui. Ils sont là. Des petites carabines, des balles. Où je dois aller? Montre-moi la voie. Ici, très bien. Ok, il faut que je monte.
And I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better. Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers.
Je me suis trompé de touche.
Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story. I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration. I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon. Suffice it to say, nobody there was happy to see me. In fact, I felt a certain hostility.
Vamos, pas là-haut. Ah non.
I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived, as a moment later I was facing down the fastest gun in the West.
Ah, duel. Ah mais là du coup on revient à la scène d'entrée. 3 DK. As de la gâchette. Tombeur de Sédam. John Hardin.
I
Belle
felt a
moustache.
bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Il a pas peur lui hein. Même pas il bouge.
That man was faster than greased lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
D'accord, donc c'était voulu que je le touche pas.
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back at a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer? Ben?
Ils te font monter le stress pour un duel à la con.
Thank you,
Tout ça
Doc.
pour au final qu'il n'y ait pas de,
Yeah,
duel.
some say revenge is a dish best served cold.
So whatever happened to that Bob guy you were after?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know, did you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Pay-per-view vu, GG pour l'erreur de titre. Merci. Oui, bah écoute, oui, je me suis raté. Je croyais l'avoir mis sur le match et je l'avais pas mis. Et le truc, c'est que le jeu m'a même pas mis de message pour me dire t'as pas mis le titre en jeu, t'es sûr que tu veux faire ça, quoi. Ou alors c'est que j'ai pas vu. Mais aujourd'hui, il y a d'autres trucs de prévus qui vont être très sympas. D'ailleurs, je me suis amusé à faire un logo pour un truc, mais du coup, vous le verrez pas aujourd'hui. Vous le verrez... Ah, en vrai, il sera sur la miniature, je pense. Ouais, je vous le dis. Hein. Sur la miniature, il y aura un logo. Un logo pour un truc. Si tu l'as mis, tu as fait gagner titre par décompte à l'extérieur quand c'est comme ça. Ah, mais oui, putain. Mais oui, j'avais mis un chip finish en pensant qu'elle allait faire qu'elle allait faire un roll-up. Et en fait, non, du coup, ça finit par un décompte à l'extérieur. Oh, merde. En vrai, dans ma tête, ça faisait de la logique, mais du coup, oui, maintenant que tu le dis, il n'y a plus de logique, en fait. Bon, tant pis.
Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable.
Voilà, c'est légal, chip finish, ça veut dire pas légal, pas mesquin, ridicule. Ouais, mais le problème, c'est que moi, je pensais que c'était ça, le chip finish. J'avais pas... Tu vois, du coup, là, je comprends un truc.
Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution and were more than willing to die for him.
L'ambiance dans laquelle ça te met, quoi. Même l'eau, elle est jolie, quoi. Je veux dire que c'est pas... Elle est pas si mal faite que ça. Hein.
This wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting has started, there was no backing down.
C'est moi du coup qui me trompais de finish en vrai, je pense, du match.
Rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated. I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Did you find Grey Wolf?
Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout. Deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
How did you get in there?
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness.
Oui, les grottes. Ah, c'était par là. Très bien. Pas très discret, les gars.
See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the walls.
How big was his cave?
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian War.
C'est pas ce que je voulais faire.
They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
How come you know so much about engines?
A few years back, I was married to 2 Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him.
Ça sent
into
pas
the
du tout le
cave
boss
of
fight,
death.
ça. Ça sent pas du tout qu'on va affronter un boss ici. Hein. Vraiment, t'as 3 boîtes de munitions dans la flotte, t'as un espèce de grand truc rond.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows. And I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind,
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
he said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
D'accord, on peut recharger plus vite comme ça, très bien.
I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kind of like a miracle. I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith. but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Pas le tuer.
Mumbo-jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady.
Voilà. T'avais pas vu toi.
I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me.
Ah bah ça aussi c'est un boss fight. Ah bah ça. Ah bah là attends. Dis donc.
Wouldn't you know it? That crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches surrounding me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Putain, il m'a fait peur lui. Là. Mourir s'il te plaît, merci. Fini? Il n'y a plus? C'est un là-haut, non? Donc je peux viser un truc là, non? Ah, pas visiblement non, j'ai eu tout le monde. Sauf que le jeu, je suis allé trop vite. Ah! Ils sont là!
And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before. I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air. Never did find him. And never did collect my goddamn bounty. Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem, might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
Les Dalton. Et ouais, on est Lucky Luke en fait.
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
On l'appelle chasseur. Grey Wolf, l'homme médecine Apache, a proféré une étrange mise en garde, exhortant Silas à ne pas se laisser empoisonner par l'amertume et la haine. La musique.
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. two banks on the same damn street. Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, she'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeyville just to shut her up. Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off.
Put some holes in them!
Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property.
C'est pas de secret.
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. This man had no intention of letting the Daltons slip away. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. You just gotta wait for something to bitch out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank.
C'est non, toi. C'est là? Mais non, non, c'est pas là. Attends, je fais pas un truc là. C'est non, toi. Par là?
Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting.
C'est là, voilà? Non. Attends, je suis aveugle ou quoi?
From above. Fortunately, a water tower was right there.
Ah, d'accord.
A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free. Like Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett.
Is that
who died
Silas
defending
Greaves?
the Alamo.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah, you know you can't see
That asshole just killed Red? Over there! That's Silas Greaves! What the hell?
Blam! Blam! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons. His name was Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened.
J'aime bien comment tout le monde refait son histoire, du coup tu refais à chaque fois le même scénario mais différemment.
It was early evening, not high noon. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. I was late to the party and Coffeeville was already up in arms. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
Oh, il est marqué purement fortuite. Hein. Toute ressemblance avec leur cousin est purement fortuite.
I'd been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. In for the kill. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeeville. You can't get me. Ain't bothered me none.
Ils sont pas entrés là.
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions. I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose them. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons. And they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those 2 families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeeville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Je crois que je l'avais pas trouvé ce secret quand j'ai fait le jeu.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The 3rd brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work. It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Greaves. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. And I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
Red-headed stepchild. Coward and a cheater. Gonna send you to the photo. Is that all you got? I'm gonna tear you apart.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeeville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him?
Alors, vu la balle d'un tête que je viens de lui mettre, à mon avis, il a pas survécu, hein, mais si vous voulez, hein. Ah, les miracles, hein. Les miracles de la médecine.
That boy had grit.
On continue à l'appeler chasseur. Au fil des ans, Silas est devenu un célèbre chasseur de primes. Sa principale ambition restait pourtant de se venger de Bob Bryant. Allez.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this.
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track them to the ends of the earth.
Et là, vous voyez, là, on a un flingue incrusté. Le six shooter incrusté. Ils sont tellement stylés,
But
ces
as we
flingues.
headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell. It was tough to stay on a true course, so we kept an eye out for landmarks.
C'est pas là. C'est là-bas, je crois.
It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color, red as blood. The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded. The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
Bury them. Plant them where they stand.
Except for some bitches ahead of me wanting to do me harm. So I had to face them alone. I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends. The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause. Point being, I was under serious attack. And my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen. But luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view, but just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running through the bushes. Of course, I followed them. But that goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze.
T'inquiète pas,
and pretty
Titi, j'ai
soon
vu
I
là,
had no
t'inquiète.
goddamn idea where I was. Steve? So I just started walking, and pretty soon...
Ils sont endormis. Ah, d'accord, tu juste fais comme ça pour...
Steve!
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
Indians? There were Indians?
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
Oh, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet, but I did find a few of their cousins. In Kansas, breed like rabbits. Or Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what. But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Je vais te garder ma dynamite. Et tire, toi. Voilà. Voilà. Ouais. Ouais. Alors. Arme légendaire déverrouillée, Ranger gradé. Ah oui d'accord, en fait oui tu l'as débloqué, c'est pour ça que je l'ai là en fait. C'est pas la mission qui veut que j'ai cette arme là, c'est que je l'ai débloqué. Mais attends, du coup le Ranger, c'est intéressant. Il est où celui qui me tire dessus là? Ah, je vais prendre des tirs, je sais pas d'où ça vient. Ah là.
Dalton boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would threaten them.
Bon, il y a un secret là-dedans. Il y a un étage. Je suis sûr qu'il y a un truc. Ah, il y avait des balles. C'est bien aussi.
That's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat? In a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps?
Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern-wheeler or a side-wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high. And those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Ah oui, mais t'es gentil, mais avec la Gatling, c'est un peu compliqué. Ni ça, Titi, après on pourra recommencer. Hein. Putain, j'aurais pu tirer là-dessus, je suis nul. Il m'a mis une droite. Non mais... On va pas y arriver à le finir. Hein. Je me précipite, c'est le problème là. Je sais que je suis à la bout.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something. I do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell. Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. But it turned out that they had me.
Take him out! I'm sending you to hell!
Et voilà, on se fait trahir.
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle. Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Oh, yeah, but I was in a fight.
Did you hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
We're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think it'll even
So anyway...
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh, God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Breeze?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Attends, mais je les prends d'où les tirs là? Je les vois même pas. Putain, s'il y en avait dans la maison.
young brat weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
C'est de l'explosif qu'ils ont au niveau du torse là. Ouais, mais aussi, ils sont deux, c'est un peu dur quand même. Ouais, faut que je m'attaque à celui qui dégainera en premier, quoi. L'autre il dégaine pas vite. Mais c'est pas l'explosif du coup qu'ils ont au torse. Enfin, à la taille. J'ai pas réussi à esquiver. Eh, c'est dur, hein. J'arrive pas à faire les deux en même temps, c'est trop dur. Parce que ça, en fait, ça bouge tout le temps, le truc, là.
They got it wrong.
Voilà.
A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later. He moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the
Donc on s'arrêtera là
tragic
pour aujourd'hui. Hein.
death of his two brothers.
Un objet de continue. Ah, attends, j'appuie sur continue mais je quitterai après.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told.
White Bunch. Juarez 1860. Je laisse la cinématique mais j'arrêterai après.
1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose.
Évidemment, je vous préviens maintenant, la VOD sera sur YouTube, hein, bien entendu. Elle arrivera plus tard vu qu'après je suis chez Titi, mais elle arrivera.
I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Du coup voilà, on apprend un petit peu plus sur notre personnage. Mais on va essayer de s'arrêter là. Le problème c'est que le jeu permet pas de quitter souvent. Le jeu veut que tu continues, le jeu veut que tu joues.
I've been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains.
Hop, voilà. J'espère qu'on pourra reprendre. Hop. Ah oui, du coup, il faut redéplacer le chat. Voilà. Voilà. Hop. Du coup, moi je vous envoie nulle part parce que bah, du coup après je suis chez Titi. Donc le temps qu'on prépare tout, voilà, je vais pas arrêter Titi du coup. Donc voilà, vous me retrouvez chez Titi tout de suite. La VOD est sur YouTube plus tard dans la soirée ou demain. En attendant, portez-vous bien. Je vous fais des bisous. Et puis je vous dis à bientôt. Voilà. Au revoir tout le monde. Des bisous.